Salesforce is the #1 CRM in the world. And that's just not marketing lines. Like, it actually is by market share, revenue, whatever you want to say. Like, it leads the world in the CRM space. But now that company is over 25 years old. And it might be going through a midlife crisis. Maybe. Well, no, okay. Definitely going through a midlife crisis. And that's what we'll get into today. We'll cover a lot. And it's specifically going to be over Salesforce. Let's get into it. Hi, everybody. If you're wondering who I am, I'm Graham Bischoff. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for over 15 years. Worked internally and built teams at companies like Yelp and Google that you may have heard of, but I also built and started my own Salesforce consulting company. So I have been around since the early days, but I never worked at Salesforce. Never joined the mothership. Probably because I didn't drink enough Kool-Aid to join the mothership, but honestly, I just didn't really have a reason to join. But I have had a lot of other colleagues, past and present, who have worked there, still work there. But this video isn't about. It's about the elephant in the room when it comes to most business systems, Salesforce. Now, I know Salesforce has turned the largest and what is probably the most successful go-to-marketing strategy in the world towards AI and Agentforce.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
All right, that's too mean. But they are pretty intense when it comes to advertising. I mean, they did rent a cruise liner to house people for their tech conference because they ran out of rooms in San Francisco.
Dreamforce 2015 is in full swing, but this year Salesforce ran into a problem. Not enough space in local hotels to house the attendants. Their solution? Bring in a cruise ship to add over 1,000 more rooms for attendees. With a pool, upscale dining, and even a theater playing keynotes from the conference, the cruise ship is both fun and an effective solution.
I'm a big fan of the cruise ship. I think it's amazing that Salesforce can put all their people up in town, and when they need some extra room, they just bring a ship in here.
Yeah, that was a real thing. And everyone was just happy to get a little bit of availability of rooms in the city. Let's be honest, traffic was terrible. But Agentforce isn't the latest product just to be overhyped in the go-to-market strategy to help investors feel better about Salesforce. It's literally been run as a playbook before. Watch this.
It needs to take advantage of this new world, of the world of social and mobile and cloud, and the new world of connected devices. And it needs to be built for each of the 5 constituents that are so important.
And if you're thinking, where have I heard that before?
A better place through scalable, fault-tolerant, distributed databases with ACID transactions.
And we are truly local, mobile, social.
And we're completely MoLoSo.
And we're MoLoSo. We're low-mo-so, bro.
We were solo-mo, but now we're MoLoSo.
Yeah, I can't make this stuff up. Life sometimes is stranger than fiction. But I want to ensure everyone, this is not a marketing gimmick. Salesforce is truly trying to make a shift here. Now, some people might say, yeah, we've seen this before. It's just a ploy to help their shareholders out. And I understand that. But this is different. It's a full-on identity change. Midlife crisis? Yeah, definitely. But we're going to have to walk you through some history just to get you to understand what's going on. Now, hold on with me. We're going to walk you through the 5 phases of this midlife crisis. So it was a person, but that'll help explain how we got to where we are today, and then also where this might be going. Let's begin. Okay, so this is going to be a little different than an actual guy realizing he's in his 40s and his life is not over, but not that different. The first thing we should note is that Salesforce has come to the realization that it has reached peak market saturation. I'm not kidding. Salesforce has 90% of the Fortune 500 as customers. That's according to Salesforce's own financial reports. It has to give that stuff to investors and the SEC. That's crazy. And according to IDC in 2023, Salesforce's market share of overall CRMs reached 21.7%. It means 1 out of every 5 customers using a CRM is using Salesforce. That's huge. No one even comes close as a second. Now, you might be thinking, well, those are awesome stats. Who wouldn't love that as a business? And you'd be totally right. If you were a company that was still growing 20 to 30% year over year, like Salesforce has been doing for almost 2 decades. What happens when that growth slows down? Now, According to Forbes, Salesforce gets 73% of its revenue from existing customers. And that was back in 2018. Who knows what it is today? So that means they're just not bringing on new folks. Like, new market expansion isn't working for them. It's all about their current customers. And as a CEO, that has to hit you like a ton of bricks. Of course it does. Makes you feel all the feels, right? You're proud of where you got to and the company that you built. I'm sure you're a little bit scared, like, hey, I've reached the top. Where do I go from here? And, well, why not take a well-deserved break, retire? I think that's what Benioff thought, and we'll get into that next. So what do you do when you finally realize that that big corporate body doesn't really match that lean startup in your head? Well, if you're Benioff, you retire, head to the beach. But first, before you do that, you need to make sure that you hire someone to run the conglomerate that you've built over your lifetime, so that
we'll be sitting on a beach earning 20%.
Sorry, Hans. Didn't really go so well for Benioff either. First, there was Keith Block. He came over from Oracle in 2013, started climbing the corporate ladder, doing really well, and in 2018, they named him co-CEO, an eventual heir to the throne. But then he left in 2020.
So long, farewell, I'll read a saying goodbye.
Our next contestant was the very talented Bret Taylor. He came over through the acquisition of Quip. If you've ever used Quip, sorry. But pretty soon he also rose up the corporate ladder, became CEO, and that's when they acquired Slack. And Bret oversaw that acquisition team. And right around the time that rolled up, Bret, in about 2021, had been named co-CEO again. So the board and Benioff took another dip in the dating pool and wound up with Bret. And this was the one. Except for 2 years later.
So long, farewell, I'll read a saying goodbye.
Man, that co-CEO position, not great. Sheesh. It's almost as bad as when Wolverine went on a Tinder date and lied about his height, saying he was 6 feet tall. By the way, do you know how hard it was to get ChatGPT to make him comic book height accurate? Really, really good. Anyway, let's get back to Salesforce's midlife crisis. All right, so it's now realized it's over the hill, had a few attempts at the dating pool, but now it wants to reinvent itself. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so Salesforce wants to redefine itself. And this crazy thing happens. In 2022, ChatGPT launches, and Salesforce finds its moment. Look, I get it. You're AI curious. Remember that time, 2016, with Einstein?
We'll have to hear from Einstein. Whoa! What's happening? Whoa!
Einstein! Hey, everybody, welcome Einstein to Dreamforce.
Welcome Einstein.
Yeah, that's not the most flattering still there is. And honestly, I'm not sure what's going to cause Einstein more trauma. Is it that fact that his legacy is trampled by corporate America, or that the founders of that two companies are tagging him on stage? Virtual or not, he's going to need some therapy. But now it was full steam ahead into Agentforce land. Salesforce wanted to dominate and lead this category. But it got even crazier than that, because they wanted to change themselves into a data company. Not a CRM company, a data company. I mean, I get it. You've reached peak market saturation. You want to experiment a little bit. But things are already pretty wild with your constant fur interventions. And this is why we get the full court blitz. Salesforce wants to become a new company. And we can tell why. With their buying spree over the last decade or so, you can see all the sprawl that they have in this environment, and they believe they have a shot at doing this. We'll talk about that next. All right, now Salesforce finally starts to enter one of its final phases. It starts to spend. And oh boy, does it start to spend. I mean, it's going to spend $5 billion on R&D just in 2024, according to its financials. And it's set to increase in 2025. Now, unfortunately, in their financial statements, Salesforce doesn't break out exactly how much of that R&D is spent on Agentforce. But given the fact that they're, laying off anyone who doesn't work on AI, and we really haven't seen a lot of new product come out of anything else, that's where you can say the vast majority of money is being spent. And I would say probably upwards of 90%. Now, I can't verify that, but that's my gut instinct on that one. And next, we have to talk about Salesforce's latest acquisition, Informatica. This one made no sense, and they literally already had purchased MuleSoft, a direct competitor. But if Salesforce is going to transform into this data company, it needed to make a big move in this space. And buying Informatica was that big move. And that big move makes sense. Well, it makes sense in like how like a semi-truck can lead a rogue group of robots to turn into vehicles and cars, but like sometimes animals for weird reasons. Anyway, it all makes sense. They're more than meets the eye, okay? But back to the acquisition. That's a lot of money to spend for basically the duplicate company that you already bought from previous years. I mean, that's some reckless spending. Well, in this phase of our illustrious metaphor, Salesforce awakens that all of its strife is for naught and understands who it is, it finds acceptance. You know, it's really gonna, none of that happened. And it really hasn't happened yet. So everything that was before was all in the past and brought you up to present day. And this phase could or could not happen in the future. And we hope it does. We hope that Salesforce gets back to building the great products that we've loved and worked with and built our careers on over the last decade or two. That would be fantastic. And a good argument from Salesforce is like, hey, look, that's what we're doing with Agentforce. And I hope that's true to some degree. But we all know the hype cycle. Things get overhyped, reality hits, things aren't really what they were, improvements need to be made, and we all move on with our lives. And I hope that's the stage that they're in, that they're really going to accept this is happening. Because for all of the doubters out there who are like, oh my God, Salesforce is spending all this money, Agentforce flops, it's gonna go away. Quite frankly, this is not true. Like, regardless of what happens with Agentforce, Salesforce is here to stay. I mean, 73% of their customers are repeat business. So even if they weren't to sell another deal, they'll be fine. And they'll be around for a lot more years. So everyone shouldn't freak out, like, should I change my career? Should I do this? No. We're just hoping that Salesforce continues to produce good products, because a slow decline is still a decline. And we hope they come back and they understand who they are, and they have some better acceptance and get back to doing the things that we really love. And Agentforce can totally be a part of that. But ultimately, we want Salesforce to be a productive, good company so that us as consumers can have a better experience, because that's what we want. And that's what we've gotten out of Salesforce today. We hope it continues to happen, and that this midlife crisis is just a funny video that you guys can watch and laugh about in, a couple of years. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. And we spent a lot of time researching this video because we really wanted to make sure we gave everyone really good context for what was going on. This is happening to all of us in the ecosystem, and we thought it was a really important video. If you want more videos like this, please remember to like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. But also, and it's super important, put comments down below. We really like to hear from our audience, and we want to know, do these videos resonate with you guys? Or are there other topics that you want us to expound on, didn't get into in this video, you may have comments on? Let us know. We have a lot to share with everyone, and we really want to make sure that these videos are doing well. So, please comment, and we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Graham. Thanks for watching.
So long, farewell, I'll be there saying goodnight.